2 years ago, Cursor 1.0 was launched as a versus code fork that assisted you in auto-completing your code, using AI like a copilot on an airplane. Just 6 months back, Cursor 2.0 dropped, featuring a revamped chat view that can now take control of your data. Use the terminal to build entire features like an airline captain. But some company. Just a few days ago, Cursor dropped version 3.0, and this update doesn't even want you writing code. Instead, it wants you to act more like an air traffic controller running swarms of AI agents across multiple repos, and even the cloud at the same time. On top of that, Cursor just released a new Composer 2 model, which was allegedly trained in-house and is smarter than Claude Opus 4.6. That is, if we're to trust the Tumblr layer, which can be kalahala, trust me bro, benchmarks. But here's the real kicker. Cursor isn't even a code fork anymore, and was completely rewritten from the ground up using Rust, which is great news for your RAM, but not everyone is feeling the new direction of Cursor, and in today's video, we'll break down its controversial new features. It's April 6th, 2026, and you're watching the Code Report before we dive into Cursor 3. First up, we've got to discuss Composer 2, the new in-house coding model from Cursor. It just launched about 2 weeks ago and totally floored us, because its scores on the Trust Me Bro benchmarks were through the roof. This intelligence beats Opus at a tiny fraction of the cost, runs way faster, and is better in every way. That's wild for a fresh frontier model. But just like NASA tricks globetrotters who were going to the moon again, a Cursor was a little tricky about how they portrayed this model to the Vibe-tiers. But what they originally didn't share with us is that Composer 2 is actually built on Moonshot's Kim Ik 2 model. And we only figure it out after someone finds its model ID and retrieves Poser's metadata and shared it on Twitter. Which is kind of funny since Kim Mai itself has been accused of training on Claude's outputs. It sometimes even says, "Hi, I'm Claude." Cursor later said they weren't being open about it. It just being Kim Mai with some really good reinforcement learning, they put out a complete technical report showing how they pulled it off. However, none of that drama truly counts since a model that's smart and fast and affordable is going to be extremely valuable in the zero-code future of programming. But to optimize shifting from code to agents, they completely rewrote the new interface in Rust and TypeScript. Just to be clear, the old antique versus code editor is still around. New interface focuses more on managing agents, so you can pretty much ignore your code base since coding agents are getting incredibly good. It's a home for your agents, and it combines the power of a professional development environment, language servers, remote SSH with every model, plus the ability to run unlimited agents wherever you want. Many people have criticized this for being too much like OpenAI CodeCS. But now let's see how it works in a real project after I introduced Horse Tender a few weeks ago. VCs have been flocking to fund it, but now I need a real prototype. Writing the code manually would take months, while vibe coding it would take weeks. But with a swarm of agents, I can knock it out by the end of this video. I'm kicking off a fresh project, and the first thing I might want to do is enter plan mode to have it. Figure out a basic architecture while it's doing that, though I can do other stuff in the background, like maybe I want to get it up and running on a distinct landing page for marketing. Or maybe I want to SSH into a cloud server and have it perform remote work on my server. Or maybe I just want to move to a completely different project and spin up an agent there. Well, I can do that all smoothly and juggle multiple agents in parallel right from this window. We can track each agent's status, and when we spot a yellow dot, it means we need some extra human input. It usually requires granting permission to run certain unsafe commands on your system, but if the dot turns blue, so it means the work is done and ready for review. And in just a few minutes, we already have 13,000 lines of code to work with. If we head to the right side here, Next up, we can fire up a terminal to take a look at the Git history. And we can even check out the code inside this tiny file explorers. But I think one of the coolest features is its built-in browser, where we can navigate right to the app. And try out the final result. As you can see, it comes with a perfectly rendered SVG graphic of a Clydesdale. But all in all, the design is horseshit. Luckily, we can just jump into design mode and start asking for fixes like I can't see the text on these green buttons. And rather than trying to fix the CSS manually, I just highlight the element and tell AI to fix it. And it does the work in the background. I don't even have to wait for the final result. I can just keep queuing up other fixes. And so after a few minutes of doing that, I created a billion-dollar social media company that will make the world better. But a company that's actually making the world a better place for developers like Blacksmith, the sponsor of today's video. A drop-in replacement for GitHub runners that lets you run your GitHub actions twice as fast while costing 75% less. That might sound too good to be true, but they're able to achieve this blazing speed by running your actions on bare metal gaming CPUs with the highest single core performance. The Blacksmith also makes your GitHub actions fully observable, so you can easily find out what's going on in your CI pipeline when things break, which is super important when your agents write thousands of lines of code with zero supervision. Blacksmith a free try today at the link below, and you'll get 3,000 free minutes per month when you sign up. This has been the Code Report. Thanks for tuning